Welcome back to another very poorly filmed, poorly executed, bad looking episode of Mac Music Review. Before we hop into the review, just want to say there's going to be some stuff down in the description if you're interested in how the channel works and all that good stuff. If you want to request an album for me to review, all that is down in the description. Today we are going to be looking at an album called Whales by the Pond by Aberrance. I know for a fact that you've never heard of Aberrance, because Aberrance is one of my subscribers, one of my 7 subscribers, and he's been making music for I don't know how long. Fairly new. His music is all fairly recent on this album. And he asked me to review this album when it was completed, and he recently left a comment that said it was completed. So Aberrance, I'm reviewing your album. That's what this is. Album review. This album is 6 songs long. It's the shortest album I've ever reviewed in my life. I would call it an EP, but on the official playlist, it's called an album. I'll try to link the album or the playlist in the description for this video. But only 6 songs, and only 2 of these songs exceed 3 minutes. In fact, the other 4 songs on this album don't even get past the 2-minute, 30-second mark. All the others are below 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This is a really, really short project. This album is almost entirely electronic. You do have some other elements here and there. You have some piano on the song Traits. You have some guitar on another song. You do have some other instruments. You have some drum beats, but they're like digital drum beats. It's not like a real drum. It's like just like that you would get on they're not real drum beats. I mean, they're like electronic drum beats. They're on the software, and you program the snare drum. You program the drum beat. I think that's how the drums were made on this album anyway. Aberrance can comment and correct me if I'm wrong. But this project, almost entirely electronic. There are no vocals on this entire album. It's all just music. There's no singing, there's no lyrics, and there's no vocal effects. It's all just music. This is an entirely musical project. And another thing to say about the music is this music is mostly pretty mellow. The first song is fairly upbeat, but the other songs on this album are either down-tempo, and they have this mellow kind of chill attitude, kind of chill aura going on for the rest of this album. The first song is fairly upbeat, but the rest are pretty chill. To review this thing, I thought I would just go song by song, since there are only 6 songs, and I don't have a ton to say about each song, so it should go fairly quickly if I just song by song this thing. The first song on this album actually really reminds me of the Daft Punk song Short Circuit from Discovery. It's kind of a short song, and it has this kind of quirky, it's kind of fun, kind of funky, and it's a little fun. It's a funky, it's an enjoyable song. It has a very repetitive drum beat that plays throughout the entire song, and for that reason the song isn't super duper interesting, but it is an enjoyable song. The next song, Spring, sounds a lot like the first song on this album, and I think that's because a very similar drum beat is used, and the drum beat plays throughout the entire song, so both have a similar kind of snare drum, like a deep, heavy drum, but like a psst kind of deal. And it plays throughout the entire song. This song is longer than the first song, and it virtually doesn't change. It mostly just sounds the same. It does have some cool birds chirping and environmental noises in the background that give it some character that go along with the title of Spring. But besides that, this song isn't very interesting, and it's not as good as the first song because it just doesn't have a lot to make it stand out and make it enjoyable. I would say that the best song on this project is the title track. It's called Whales by the Pond. This song is very spacey. It's very atmospheric. It's very mellow. And it's just kind of cool. It creates this cool environment, really creates this aura, puts you in a different place. It's an effective song for that reason, that it makes you feel a different way, and it works very well. The only problem with this song is that it's virtually doesn't change, and so it can get a little bit boring. It's one of the longest songs on the album. I think the second longest song on the album, if it's not the longest. And it just goes on, and the first minute, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, you're enjoying it. But by the last minute, you're like, oh, this is the same thing for the whole song. So it kind of loses a bit of its charm when it's given that longevity and given that it doesn't really change for the whole song. I would say that the worst song on this album is Traits, and I hate to say that because I do like that this album does have some different instrumentation. This song does have a piano that plays throughout, but the piano playing itself is kind of so-so. The piano really doesn't sound great, other than, there being a piano. It's really short, and the music is just kind of boring. This song really doesn't have a lot going for it. Maybe Later is another chill, spacey, kind of mellow song. And once more, this song doesn't really have a ton going for it. It's kind of boring. It doesn't sound really awesome. What I do like about this song is about the 30-second mark, there is a transition. The music shifts from one thing to another, and that is really cool, and I got excited when I heard that. But for the rest of the song, it doesn't change, and it's this same kind of beat that just goes throughout the entire song, and it's not super interesting or enjoyable. I would say that Wowzer is one of the more interesting songs on the album. It's the last song, and it has some really creative sounding instrumentation. It just sounds fresh. The music is just kind of fresh and enjoyable, and it's a little bit of fun. The music just sounds pretty good. Once more, though, I would say this song suffers from repetitivity, and really that's what this whole project, that's the number one problem with this entire project, is it's just these repetitive beats that you're just kind of wanting something else. You're wanting it to add, other electronic music. The song adds, and it changes, and it evolves, and all that goes on with the duration of the song. But these songs mostly just stay the same. While there is some variation between the tracks, in each track individually, there's not a ton of variation, and for that reason, I don't love this project. I would say there's some promise. There are some good creative elements in this. There are some things that are enjoyable. There are some things that sound good. I like the first song. I like Whales by the Pond. And most of these songs, there is something positive I can say about it, except for Traits. That one's not super good. Besides having piano. I'm going to have to give this thing a 2.5 out of 5. That's the review. I hope you liked it, Aberrance. I hope you liked it. Sorry if it was a little harsh. If the score was a little harsh. I wouldn't give it anything higher though. I feel like I'm being honest to myself, and I don't want to lie too much to myself. And yeah, I do think you did some cool stuff on here. There's some good stuff here that I actually do enjoy. Just the music, for the most part, the music just doesn't change inside of each track, and it's kind of repetitive, and it gets kind of boring, kind of uninteresting as the songs go along. So just a little more variation within the tracks, a little bit of changes and shifts in the music, and you should be going good. I have no problem with the chill and atmosphere of the album. I think there's nothing wrong with that. It's just got to have a little bit more stuff in the music. Make it a little bit more interesting.